Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting video at Learn IT in 5 minutes. Today we will try to learn what is an IP address. Let's get ready.
As I mentioned, today we will be trying to learn what is an IP address. IP address is nothing but Internet Protocol address. So why do we need an IP address? Like any other home address, in case we wanted to identify uniquely a house in a particular area, every house has house number, street, city, state, county, and zip code or pin code to uniquely identify the house, okay, or a home. To send packets or to give an address to somebody, you identify a particular house number in a society using these some of the identifiers. Similarly, when we go into the computer world, if these two computers wanted to talk on an internet, there has to be some unique way of talking to each other. That's kind of gave a birth to an IP address. So let's see what is an IP address. So as I said earlier, every computer on a network has a unique identifier which is represented in the form of these 32 bits, which is equivalent to 4 bytes. So any IP address is it consists of 4 bytes. If we convert this computer readable format number into an human readable format, which is a byte representation, this gives the IP address of this one, okay, 172.16.254. So computer uses this unique identifier, okay, over the network, over the internet to talk to each other. And most of the networks, including all computers on the internet, use the TCP/IP protocol. When I say TCP/IP protocol, it is nothing but a way to communicate, uh, like like our mail, phone channel, or fax. So similarly, protocol represents the same thing. Protocol is nothing different than way of communication. So so in TCP/IP protocol, the unique identity for computer is called its IP address, and IP address is represented by these 4 bytes. So next time when these two computers are talking to each other, they have a unique IP address where they can send the packets marking it with this IP address, so that this computer has to send, if they want to send some data, they can mark each packet with that IP address and it will be able to send it to this computer. That will be delivered to him because it has to travel either over the internet, it goes to the multiple hops, and if it has to reach properly to this computer, it uses this IP address. Similarly, back and forth communication is happening, they uses this IP addresses. So if we try all the permutations and combinations with these bits, which are 32 bits, we get close to these many IP addresses, which is a 2 to the power of 32. Since each bit represents means each bit represents either in the 1 to 4 in that format. So it will give us an IP addresses which are close to these maze. But it and there are a lot of IP addresses out of these IP addresses which are already in use or that is needed for any other administrative purpose, or there are certain IP addresses which are already reserved for multicast addressing. So, and most of this IP address is managed globally by INA, which is an Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. So what they found out over a period of time is IPv4 close to go about 2 to the power of 32, and since there is a huge growth in internet, there are a lot of computers are getting connected. they were running out of the IP addresses. So they came up with a new IP address scheme, which is an IPv6. And that IPv6 consists of 2 to the power of 128. Like 32 bits, they can use 128 bits. So this should cover our future needs, all the computers which are getting connected. So let's go to the how we should identify, how we should find out the IP address on your computer. You can go to the command prompt if you are using Windows or any other operating system and type an IP config. You should get an IP address with other details, IPv6 address also. So with that, uh, I hope you enjoyed this video. So thank you very much.